Hey guys, how you going? Welcome back to another video. I just wanted to talk about a post I posted this morning. Posted a picture of Sam Mack and Sonia Kruger, Big Brother host, because Big Brother's back apparently. Big Brother's back. Big Brother's back for the average person to win, I don't know, $100,000, $200,000, $1 million, whatever it is they're going to win. But yet the average person isn't on it. You've got a social media star, Zoe, the subtle mum or whatever she is. You've got the internet sensation, learner driver, can't remember his name. You've got a former professional gymnast. So these are for the show's supposed to be designed to bring average people together and from different backgrounds. What a retarded. I applied. I won't lie. I applied. I thought I'd get in, but obviously not. I'm not a gymnast or a former model. There's a guy who's a former model, or is a model, but he's a roofie as well. I don't know. Anyway, so he's been on the cover of magazines and shit. Kudos to him. Good on him. The post though was about Sam Mack and Sonia Kruger. Now, I don't know if we're social distancing anymore. Are we? Is COVID a thing? I mean, because I was watching Sky News like 10 minutes before I switched over, because I'm a channel server, so I flicked over and I was like, oh, well, Sam Mack will be on. That's interesting to watch sometimes. That's the only interesting about Sunrise. That's ever interesting actually, Sam Mack, because he's not a bad bloke. I mean, he's a company man, but he's not a bad bloke. And so I flicked it over. Now I just watched Sky News, right? And on Sky News they were talking about how the rugby league, the Bulldogs, right, the Canterbury Bulldogs, were being investigated, and all players would be tested, and all people would be tested, all staff that were involved would be tested, because some guy that wasn't on the list was at training and he was shaking hands with the players and talking to players, and he was up close and personal, and he was not doing social distancing, right? So now they're under investigation, right? And I think they can't play their footy, they can't play the game, right, or something like that. I didn't pay too much attention to the details. All I knew was, hang on a minute. He was at the training, he was shaking hands with players. Now, I didn't even think COVID existed anymore, to be honest. I mean, we've had, 103 deaths here in Australia, I think. I haven't even looked, because it's pointless. It's pointless. Sunrise has stopped putting the banner up. I noticed that the other day. I was like, well, we got, 8 to 12 weeks of this banner, this scary, scary banner of death toll. And that's what it said, death toll, right? So, that's gone. It's all about rights now. It's all about economics and stuff like that. And I just had to ask the question, because then I switched over to Sunrise, and here's old Sam Mack at the Big Brother house with Sonia Kruger, because it's already pre-filmed, you see. Big Brother this year's been pre-filmed, so it's actually not even live. How fucked up's that? So the whole thing's changed. It's all different. I don't think I'll be watching it. So I flicked it over, and Sam Mack and Sonia Kruger. Hi, I'm Sam Mack. Yes, I use. Yeah, that's right. I've got sanitizer. Because I have to. This is good stuff. All right. It's sweet pea, even though it looks like lavender, but it's sweet pea. So this is Sam Mack. Hi, I'm Sam Mack, and this is Sonia Kruger. This is how close they were together. Right, on national television, live on national television. Buck assing about, doing whatever they do, doing some skit, alright, with the electricity stuff. So, like, he's supposed to be putting the eye of the needle, threading the eye of the needle, but Sonia had these little buttons, and she was, like, right beside him, and she's pressing these buttons and making it, like, jump, electricity, like, little shocks of electricity, so he couldn't do it, okay, that was a challenge. So, they're this close, right? Right? The social distancing should be, well, yeah, if that as well. Should be that, yeah? Yeah, if we're still doing it. I don't know if we're still doing it, okay? I'm not sure. So, hi, Alexi. So, you've got two people on national television live this close together. But yesterday, at training, you've got a bloke shaking hands with another bloke, saying, g'day, you're doing a good job, well done, keep up the good work. Not social distancing either, but they're going to be investigated. And they're going to be tested. The entire team's going to be tested now, because it's a risk. But yet, let's have a look at it from this point of view. Right, now I posted this because it's hypocrisy, okay? It means it's very hypocritical. You got the news and media outlets telling you, stay away from each other, it's against the rules, let's be obedient. That's what they're doing. If you don't think that's what they're doing, that's okay, but you need to realise that that's what they're doing, and eventually you're going to realise that, because I've even seen it myself, that people are starting to get fed up. I was out to lunch yesterday with my wife at a beautiful place here in our town, or just out of that way a little bit, and we had the pleasure of having 6 elderly people seated near us, very close to us, like this close. All right, this close. They were made to social distance at the table. It was looked really difficult, because when you space 6 people apart at the table, it doesn't make sense. Anyway, it looked retarded. So anyway, a couple of them ended up being, in front of each other like this. So now they were like this, So what was really interesting was that just because it's not on social media, it doesn't mean that people aren't getting fed up. Now these ladies, were over it. They just wanted to get back to playing bowls. They just wanted to get back to going to the bowls club and having a few bevies with the girls and having a laugh and having a good time and having a dance. One of them said, yeah, we're allowed to play bowls, but we've got to be a rink apart. Now, you're allowed to play bowls, but you've got to be a rink apart. That means that if this is the one bowling rink here, my pad, right, this is one bowling rink, you've got one bowling rink, right? Then we got another bowling rink and another bowling rink. So let's say there's 3 bowling rinks side by side. You can't have anyone playing in the middle bowling rink. Now, from one bowling rink to the third bowling rink, it'd probably be about 10 metres, I reckon. 10. Right. But you can bowl with 4 other people. Or if it's, is there pairs? There's pairs, there's singles, there's pairs, and I think there's quads. I'm not big on bowling. I used to be, but I'm not that up to date with how it's played, or I know how it's played, but what the regulations are and stuff like that. But anyway, you're going to play bowls with 3 other people on the rink. Let's say it's a doubles game, all right? That doesn't make sense. Why not use the middle rink as well? It really doesn't make a difference. It's retarded. It doesn't make sense. Now, I was always told, if it doesn't make sense, ask questions, right? So let's look at another question, right? Now, this person said that, that the person their nan had lost a friend. Yeah, okay, I get it, all right? I understand. It's sad, right? All these people that died with COVID-19 didn't die from. You got to get that. You got to get that through the system, okay? They didn't die from. They died with COVID, okay? There's a massive difference. The person didn't die from COVID. They died with it in their system. They had other comorbidities, meaning they probably had cancer, they probably had pneumonia, they probably had Alzheimer's, they probably had heart disease. They could have had anything, okay? Anything that lowers the immune system, okay, isn't going to help fight COVID, okay? COVID isn't the cause, right? We saw that with the false positive in North Queensland, in Blackwater, okay? The media has now come out and apologised, Channel 7's apologised, the Premier's apologised, I think, and a young lady was berated over the news for going to Blackwater and flouting social distancing rules when all she went out there to do was watch the fucking sunset on her own, and no human contact. But yet, it's okay for them to berate a nurse who in actual didn't give the bloke COVID, because she never went near him, and the test was false positive anyway. So now my question is if there's one false positive, how many more are there? Out of the 103 people who actually died from COVID, who actually died from it, not died with it, not had cancer and died from cancer treatment and having a poor immune system and then cancer killed them, but they had COVID at the same time. Was that a false positive? Was it? Who knows? We're never going to know, because you've probably heard this whole old saying, right? Your parents probably used to say, new age parents probably don't use it, but old school parents used to probably tell you this. Okay, if you're in your 30s, in your 40s, in your 50s, your mum and dad would have told you this. It's a need to know basis, meaning if you need to know, I'll tell you. We, the Australian public, okay, to the government, are a need to know basis. We are only told things that we are needing to know. Okay? At the moment, we need to know our way forward from this, whatever it is. Okay? I'm not saying COVID isn't deadly. I'm not saying that. I've never said that. What I've always said, and will always continue to say, is that it is being overplayed, and all of a sudden it doesn't exist anymore on the news or on the media or wherever. It doesn't exist. They don't talk about it anymore. They're talking about the riots. That's how they get you. Did you even realise we went from being in a pandemic into now a rioting and protesting scheme? Did you realise that? Have you woken up to that? Like, my biggest problem is it's the hypocrisy, and the people are not seeing that point. Okay, you've got doctors and nurses and paramedics that were not only a month ago making TikTok videos because they were bored at work, and making TikTok videos and advertise campaigns to tell people to stay home, save lives. Stay home, save lives. These people had more time on their hands to make advertising campaigns than they did treating people for other illnesses because they weren't allowed to go to the hospital. Okay, because they didn't think they were allowed to go. They were told they had to stay home and stay safe. While these nurses and doctors and paramedics were making videos on TikTok. It's there. Okay, the evidence is there. The internet is forever. Once it's deleted. No, it's not. You put something on the internet, it stays there forever. It can be found. Okay, it can be found. It's forever. Okay, so you've got these same people that were doing that about a month ago, now standing in the street, shoulder to shoulder, clapping protesters who are walking shoulder to shoulder and not social distancing because they're protesting or something, or rioting. You know, I'm not saying that the protests aren't called for. Rioting is definitely not called for. Okay, no one has the absolute right to go into someone else's business and start taking their shit. Okay, you want it, you buy it. That's how it works. Okay, rioting, it doesn't solve any problems at all. Rioting just creates more problems. Rioting creates more issues. Rioting is like a cancer. It'll just keep manifesting and getting bigger and bigger. And you've seen that. Okay, people are protesting peacefully during the day, and as soon as curfew comes, guess what? Rioters come out. If you haven't seen that, please go on to fucking Facebook or YouTube or wherever. Just because it's not on the TV doesn't mean it's not happening the way we say it's happening. Okay, just like COVID, because it's not on the TV anymore. But people are still scared and still waiting for the government to tell them how high they can jump and when they can come down. Do you know that all the COVID things that were being said were a guideline? It was never a law. You could leave your house and go to the shop. This is what I don't understand, right? This is what the biggest part of the whole argument of me, right? All the small businesses closed down, all of them, right? We have to close all the small businesses. We have to close them all down, right? Small business, we have essential businesses only, all right? I had to go to Coles, it's essential, right? But what I don't understand is why. Because we were told it was so contagious. It was more contagious than SARS, and it was more contagious than the common flu, which we have a vaccine for, but yet still 300,000 people get the flu every year. It doesn't work like that. And I want to get back to the ladies that were yesterday. Just because it's not being said or being opinionated or dropped on Facebook or YouTube or Twitter, it doesn't mean there aren't people out there that are thinking the same as some of the people that you don't agree with on Facebook. Okay, yeah, there's probably people out there that are on Facebook, that aren't on Facebook, that say, yeah, we should have went into lockdown. No, we shouldn't have. That's my opinion. Okay, now we've got more issues. Now we've got a bigger issue. How do we get people back into employment? I actually know somebody who was fired. I know the person that was fired and the excuse was, oh, yeah, due to COVID. And that business, and I can guarantee, I'm not telling you the business, I'm not saying any of the business name, I can guarantee you 100% that business is churning out more work than they ever have right now. And yet they let that person go because they could put it under the guise of COVID-19. You see, that's the issue I have. Okay, it's not the fact that COVID isn't dangerous or isn't deadly. You've got to ask yourself the question, like why are we still allowed to go to the supermarket in the droves? And it wasn't until towards the end, till about the last month, where they started doing the counting and they started doing the making sure they only had this many people in there. Even that many people is still ridiculously too high. I went to Woolworths when they were doing the whole, we're going to open at 10 o'clock. Oh no, that was on Anzac Day. So I went there on Anzac Day. They weren't opening until, 12, which is fair enough. It's pay respect to our guys. So I went to Woolies, and I was waiting. Luckily I was like third in line or something, but their lineup was all the way out the door. Like all the way out the door into the car park, and people were this far apart. You want to count people going into the store, and how come none of the Woolworths is closed down from having staff catch it? Ask yourself the question. I ask questions all the time because it's what I was taught. I was educated to say, hey, if that doesn't make sense, hey man, you should ask questions. Okay, so why wasn't there one Woolworths closed down? Why weren't there multiple Woolworths closed down? Why was it? Well, you can't say because it was hygiene. You can't. What's redundant is the fact that they're touching your stuff. Like, they only did that towards the end. Now they're going back on that, because we know that the CDC released a statement saying that surface-to-surface contraction is lower than what we first thought. See? First thought. Okay, we thought it was high, but after actually testing, it's actually lower than we first thought. You see, it's not what they say, it's how they say it. And I'm going to still say it was a big joke. And a lot of people bought it around the world, not just Australians, the whole world. Now I'm going to explain to my kids, not at the start, I've got to explain to my kids why the big scary bit on the television was telling them that people were dying and that we had all this and all that and all this and all that. But now I'm going to try and explain to them, because they ask questions like, what happened to the COVID? Where's the COVID? What's going on with the COVID? You see? They just transition you from one thought pattern to the next. And you, the viewer, just go with it. All right, well, we've got COVID this month. Next month we've got riots. Imagine if we just planned it all out. Imagine if we had a schedule, mate. Imagine if you walked into a room, and I'm not saying that that's what I do. All I'm saying is that I am saying that they transition you, but I'm not saying they plan it. All right, I don't want to sound like a loony, but what if they did? Is the question. But what if they did? What if you walk in to a big office of a news network, or a media outlet like Channel 7 or Channel 9 or Sky News or ABC or wherever, and on the wall, the monthly plan is set right from this month to that month. We know that this is going to happen. All right, so we're going to run this, and this is what we're going to do. We're going to do that for this amount of time. And then people are going to be glued to the television, and the more people that are glued to the television, the more ad revenue they make. You know that, right? So the more people that watch Sunrise, glued to their seats, waiting for the next death toll to pop up, waiting for the next Scott Morrison fucking chat, or Gladys Berejiklian, or fucking Anastasia Palaszczuk, or Dan Andrews, or I don't even barely saw anything from WA. They've got their own thing going on. For every person that's sat glued to their seat for 3 hours a day watching Sunrise or the Today Show, waiting to hear about what's going on, is ad revenue. Because that network, that Channel 7 knows, right, this is the ratings for the show right now, right? So we're going to keep this going because we know that if there's this many people watching it, we can sell more ad space. So Channel 7's like, right, we'll sell more ad space. We'll sell more ad space. It's not rocket science. Anyway, that's my video for today. COVID, yeah, okay, it killed a lot of people. It really did, okay, but it didn't kill them. They just died with it, okay, like they would have died with the flu. And if they had cancer, they probably would have died. Like, the probability is pretty fucking high. Because when you go for cancer treatment, your immune system's focused on one fucking thing. It can't do two things at once. Your immune system can't fight two battles. It focuses on one thing, and it focuses on the most dangerous thing. So if you go and have cancer treatment, and let's say you have radiation, that blows your whole immune system out of the water. So now your immune system's turned off. Do you know why? Because the radiation tells your immune system that it's going to do the job for your immune system. So your immune system's turned off. It's not going to turn back on. Do you know why? Because you're having radiation treatment. Okay, it doesn't just turn back on. Okay, so it knows, because the body, that's how the body works. So the body's like, right, we're having cancer treatment, we're having radiation, right, we can turn that off because we don't need that right now. Okay, this is going to help me. This is helping me right now, the chemicals and the radiation, right? But then you get COVID. Then what do you reckon happens? Your immune system can't fight it because it's not turned on. It doesn't turn on. It doesn't just go, all right, I've got something else here now. It doesn't do that. It focuses on one thing at a time, okay? And being outside in the sun and the warmth and getting the vitamin D and staying healthy, fit and strong will help you over time. Being cooped up in your house, being scared of shit, won't. Your likelihood of getting a cold will be, I've got polyps by the way, that's why I just sniffed. Your likelihood of you going to, after being at home for 3 months and haven't been out of the fucking house, the likelihood of you catching something is pretty high. And it'll probably be a cold to start with, if you're in Tasmania, because it's colder now, it's winter. You see, I run my group outside in winter now, alright? Then people aren't going to get sick because they're not out for a very long time, they're out for a short period of time, and guess what they're doing? They're working out. So their body is adjusting to the demand of the temperature. That's what happens. Yeah, it's only coffee, bro. Nah, it's yucky now. Anyway, that's my video. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. We'll be back. We'll be back soon.